Some of these things might really shock you because I don't really say them out loud, even to myself, let alone here on the internet. The first thing I want to say is I second guess myself all the time. Like all the time. I want to say I'm almost indecisive. Like I have a really bad habit of being indecisive at times, and I'm working on it. But I think a lot of it also is because I am public here on YouTube and I get criticized constantly. And after a while, sometimes it is hard not to constantly second guess myself. Like, what if they're right? You know, what if I am a terrible parent? Like, what if I am really messing my kids up? You know, I think I'm past the point of that where I know that like my first goal always is to be obedient to God and to be obedient to Scripture, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? I think that's why most of us here are probably doing what we're doing. But I don't want to mess my kids up along the way. You know what I mean? Of course, I want to do the best job that I possibly can for my children so they can be set up as successful adults in this world, and so they can go out into the world and shine the light of Christ everywhere they go. But at the same time, oh man, it is hard to sometimes cut through all of that noise and all of the trolls and just all of the mean people on the internet. And I think one of the things that has surprised me is how much strangers on the internet seem to care about my children, especially strangers who don't have children. I find that very interesting. So I am a homeschooling mom of 10 years. My name is Mandy, and I love being a homeschool mom. But it isn't my whole identity, I must say. Being a homeschool mom is not my entire identity. I'm a Christian. That is my identity. And these are just some things that I don't really say out loud very often. And I don't like to admit some of these things to myself sometimes, but they're important. I think it's important that we be really honest. And I try to build my channel around the honesty and the realness of what homeschooling actually is. Because if somebody out there is like, well, I've never homeschooled before, I'm interested in it, I don't want to give you a false sense of what it actually is. I'm not going to tell you that everything is rainbows and sprinkles all the time, because it's not. Next, I would say my own public education was not great, which has made things very interesting for homeschool. I was a very good student. I have always done really well in school, but I think the contrast with the education that my children are getting versus my own public education, I get to see it firsthand every day. And what I thought was a good education was so lacking in many different areas. And I'm really glad that I homeschool, just because I can see the contrast between my own public school education and my children's homeschool education, and just how much richer and fuller and just all around better quality education my children are getting versus what I got. The next thing, I am going to be so sad, but also really proud when my youngest graduates in a couple years. I only have, after this year, 3 more years with him. He's in grade 9. And that's going to be rough, guys. That's going to be really rough. Everybody keeps asking what I'm going to do with my channel when he graduates. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I want to stick around, but I don't know. There might be some shifts on my channel. I haven't quite decided yet, but I still have time. I still have time to decide what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. And yeah, it's kind of scary for me to think about that, to think about my oldest child already like going out into the world. He's almost graduated the fire academy. He graduates next week, and he will be a certified firefighter in just about 10 days. And my youngest, he is, you know, just trucking right along, and he's already talking about doing dual enrollment and, you know, going into the city for different classes. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. We're here. It's happening. There are days, guys, I just don't want to do school. I'm just going to say it, like, I have off days, okay? I am a 9-10 year homeschool mom, and there are days when the last thing that I want to do is get out of bed in school, especially having a chronic illness and, you know, one that has like really painful flare-ups that make it hard to move and to walk. Oh, like some days I literally cannot move my legs. So I can't walk. I can't put one foot in front of the other. It's very, very challenging. So there are days when the last thing that I want to do is get out of bed and do homeschooling. But I have to fight through that. I have to fight through that urge and just make myself get up and go, because my child's education is more important than the pain that I am in. So we all have off days. We all have off days. If you remember when you were in school and the teacher would pull out the cart, if you were as old as me, and the teacher would, you know, pull out the rolly cart that had the television on it, that was her off day, but she couldn't call out sick. I hate saying this because I know some moms are just going to be like, you know, well, good for you. But there are different challenges when your kids are different ages, okay? When the children are young, you're going to spend a lot more time with them on one-on-one things, right? You're going to spend a lot more time doing everything with them, especially your pre-readers. Pre-reading children are going to need more help because they can't be as independent as older kids because they can't read their assignments. You have to help them. But the good thing is they spend less time on each thing and you're going to finish sooner, typically, okay? Not in every situation. But for the most part, in a general sense, you're going to finish a little bit quicker. When your children are older, they can be more independent, they can work on their own, and it's kind of weird. I'm going to say it's kind of weird when you don't do all the subjects together and then you have like this huge gap in your day and you're like, I feel like I should be doing something, but I'm not. It's really weird. I'm going to say it's really strange. But here's the thing, like there's pros and cons to both, all right? The kids school a lot longer with high school. So when we do history, like we do history together, that can take us a full hour just for that one subject. And then we have the read aloud to do together. Each day is kind of different. So you kind of have to play each day by ear and kind of go one subject at a time. Another subject that we do takes about the same amount of time. But if we have a discussion about it, you know, because he's almost, you know, he's a young adult now, you know, I have a 15-year-old, you know, he's growing up and he's having more mature conversations and we're kind of fleshing things and ideas out. And, you know, especially like when my husband joins in too, like we're having family discussions about, you know, serious topics. Those take a while, you know, so while those are a good thing, it's not like it is when they're in grade 2 or grade 1. It's a totally different ball game, you know. So there's pros and cons to each stage of development and education for your child. Sometimes you're going to be spending every single waking moment going through everything with them, and then you're going to gradually step back. And when you step back and they're in high school and you're only doing maybe part of the day with them, it is kind of weird. I'm just gonna be really honest. It's really weird to have that big gap in your day. It's great. I can do more things. Like I can go for a run whenever I want to in the middle of the day. I can break out my paint and I can, you know, do a painting lesson, or I can have that extra time to do some cooking or some, you know, some prep. But sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I miss having little kids and being able to do those really fun, cute readers and, you know, just the sweet art lessons and different stages, different things. And I will say the last thing is I'm really glad that I did this. It's been a huge sacrifice. It's been time, it's been money, it's been energy, it's been sweat and tears and all of the things, but it has also been one of the biggest joys of my whole life. And I will never regret making the decision to do this. I think it was one of the best things my husband and I ever did. It was one of the best parenting decisions we ever made. And the only thing that I would change is I never would have put my older son in elementary school. I would have taken him out sooner. I didn't start homeschooling until he was in grade 3, and I think that's the only regret that I have. But it was one of those things that, like, it never crossed my mind. I just kind of fell in line with the system, and just, you know, when he was 5, he goes to kindergarten. I did not think twice about it, especially as a former teacher. It's like, oh, you're 5, off to kindergarten. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish somebody would have, like, knocked on my head and say, hey, you know, you can homeschool. I wish I would have done that. But the Lord is sovereign. The Lord's in control of all of these things. And for whatever reason, Josh was meant to go to school for the first couple of years. And my youngest, I never put him in school. So he has never gone to a public school. And I'm really glad he at least never went. So tell me down below, what's something that you have a hard time kind of admitting to yourself about homeschool, but you make yourself say it anyway? Like, do it. Like, put it in the comments. I want to read it. I think it's important that we as homeschool moms encourage the younger homeschool moms, especially the ones who, like me, who have been in the game for a while. Let me know down below, like, what are some of the things like me in this list that you have? Tell me in the comments. I want to read them. Encourage me and the other homeschool moms. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy homeschooling.